community members. Um, so that one went well. And then the second one was for vendors who specialize in working with seniors.
Okay.
So yeah, they both went really, really well. The first one, there were about 5 people that were
Okay.
really attentive. And then the one yesterday was about 25. Um,
Awesome. And the
so
first one, did you do like a feedback form?
I didn't. They were pretty old.
So the one they love to,
Mhm.
I don't know, criticize, but they love to give feedback. And also it keeps the further engagement in there. And the way I always go is like, did you guys provide lunch?
No, they provided like cookies and coffee and
Okay.
decaf.
Um, so you could do something like, hey, this feedback sheet is for me because I'm always trying to improve my, what we do and the value, and I want to make sure that before you guys leave today, you got what you came for. So this feedback sheet really it helps me do that. If we're providing lunch, we always still joke around that it's also your lunch ticket. We fill it out, so we fill out their name, their phone number, their email when they're checking in, and then we give it to them and say, okay, this is your feedback sheet. We'll be collecting these at the end of the day. Um, and it's also there to take notes, so they can take notes. So we on the back we make a couple lines so they can kind of take their notes of what they like. Um, but it helps again to keep the thing because we want to, yes, we want to educate, but we also want to get business from it, and it makes the follow up really easy by doing so. Did anyone book appointments from it?
Not yet. I did have somebody reach out. One of the vendors wants to meet up for coffee next week.
Perfect. Yeah, and same with the vendors. I do the same thing of like, hey, here's our feedback sheet. I really want to make sure that we get there. And then on the bottom, I just say, are you interested in setting up a one-on-one? And if they say yes, then hopefully before they leave, I say, okay, here's my calendar. Go ahead and book it. Or I'll have a QR code where it's like, hey, if we want to book a one-on-one session, so we can get to know each other's business better, go ahead and book
Mhm.
that calendar now. Because that's the main point of these is to see how many appointments we can get, how many follow-ups we can get from them. But awesome job. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, imagine doing those once a month and your pipeline will just get fed and your database will just get filled as well.
yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. Even the vendors yesterday were like, "Can you come speak at our place?" And I'm like, "Happily."
Absolutely awesome.
So,
And how did
yeah.
you market for the event for the vendors?
So that's actually a monthly meeting that we already have established. So it was just my turn to present, and for that one, I did provide lunch. That's one
Oh,
of the requirements is you provide lunch at least one time a year, just so you kind of pay for yourself. And then the rest of the lunches are free, but it's already an established group. Mhm.
perfect. And is it like a senior networking group?
Mhm.
Oh, awesome,
Yep, I'm
awesome,
in two of those, two different counties that are right next to each other, which is really nice. So yeah.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is awesome.
Hmm.
How's business going other than that?
Good. I put a house in, I have a listing in a 55 plus community. I put it under contract about an hour ago. So
Awesome.
it's a good way to start the day.
Yeah,
Um,
yes, it is.
yeah, yeah. So I just need more clients.
Okay. And as far as like prospecting, what's the prospecting like? You had 2 to 4 hours today to prospect. What are you doing to prospect?
Yeah, so I need to do quite a few follow-ups. Um, there's one senior that I need to call and talk to him again about doing a short sale. So I need to do that. And then I was going to prep for a webinar that I'm going to host next week about moving to Montana. It's not going to be senior focused, but I'd like to take a break from listings. I just want buyers.
Okay.
I need a break. Um,
Buyers have better margins as long as you're not paying for the leads.
yeah,
That's for sure.
no, I don't pay for any leads. I mean, I guess I paid for lunch yesterday, so if you look at
Well, I mean, that's
I'm
marketing,
paying for
but
leads.
yeah.
Um, so I'm doing this webinar next week, and so I need to make some videos to promote that. So I'll do that. So yeah.
Your short sale, what's his interest rate?
It's like 6.5.
Oh,
He just refinanced a couple weeks ago and he didn't tell me about it.
hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, someone in the waiting room. Okay. So you refinance and then that put him underneath the.
Yep. Yep.
How,
Yep. Yep. So he bought
how
it.
does LTV go that high?
Well, he bought it for 465.
Uh-huh.
Then he refinanced so many times that now his loan balance is 565.
But who refinanced them higher than the value of the home?
So I asked him who the lender was or the bank was, and it's all these, I've never heard of them.
Well, possibly, I mean, because that might be elder abuse.
Right.
I would maybe contact like an ombudsman or an elder care attorney and say, hey, I have a client, he's elderly, and for some reason they kept refinancing them past the value of the home, which anyone looking out would be like, why would like, I mean, that's why I'm is like, if you just refinance, how do you not have at least 20% equity in your home? How would it have to be a short sale? So that would be where my
Yeah.
brain would go, is like someone's taking advantage of them to get the home. Um,
Yeah, I started thinking about that yesterday. So I'm gonna reflect on it a little bit more after I call him today, and I think that will be my next step. Um, because
yeah.
his home value, realistically, if we were to sell it, would be around 550.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Either
Um,
that or I want his lender's number. I have a couple of houses that I'd refinance to the value of it and then get my money out and say, okay, you deal with it now. I'll give you the home. Um,
so
Good morning, Debbie. How's it going?
Good morning. How are you?
Abs- Absolutely wonderful. Um, yeah. Anything you want to talk about? Because it's just you and Diana today. So if you have something that you want to talk about, we can.
I think I'm just trying to collect my thoughts as I try to get my senior business up and going. So, yeah, there's my brain's kind of like going crazy.
Okay.
I guess just trying to figure out where to, where I don't know so much where to start as where I want to start. I think I'm beginning to see that I don't want to be a realtor that's just collecting data and sending out um, whatever I send out to get business. I want to be more personal. I guess I'm trying to figure out how to make my business more personal because every realtor is collecting data and doing mass mailings to people here in this market. And I'm
So
trying to figure out how to focus on lifestyle more than anything else.
so I how I built my whole business is building relationships and making partnerships.
Hmm.
And the people that you need to do that first with other people in your phone. So if you're trying to make it more personal, make your clients more personal and make it so you have a bigger connection with them, which is the people that are already in your phone, possibly like you know you and trust you. And one question that I ask, and I called every single person on my phone, and I would suggest to do the same thing, is call them, be a human being, ask about their family, ask about
Hmm.
their hobbies and their recreation and their dreams and their goals, and how can you help them get a raise at their work, or grow their business, or bring them clients, like, and genuinely care. And then ask them, if they were ever to introduce an agent to someone who's looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, what is important that that agent does to make sure that they're confident in their competence. And if you called 100 people, 200 people, 300 people over the next 2-3 months, however long it takes you, you'll have 100 to 200 to 300 explanations and things that you need to do to make your business more personal. And I'm going to tell you that they're going to say, communicate with me.
Right.
Call me. Call me outside of wanting me to give you business or wanting to introduce you to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me value. Let me see that you are competent, that you do know what you're talking about. But your people might say something different. They might say, email me. They might say, do a monthly newsletter. They might say, do event. Like, each person's going to have something different, but there's going to be a general theme of probably 3 to 5 things that they all say. Build your business on that, because all those things have nothing to do with data. The
Okay.
data and the statistic that you want to know and focus on is 72% of business. Sorry, there's someone in the waiting room. I just looked up. 72% of the business, according to NAR, National Association of Realtors, 72% of business comes from people that we know, our friends, our family, our coworkers, and referrals from their friends, family, coworkers, and professionals. So while people are collecting data and sending out newsletters and door knocking and cold calling and FISBOing and expiring, 72% of the business is already in your phone.
Okay.
But we're trying to go outside of our phone for some reason. The best part is when you call people in your phone, most of those people are either going to be going through what you specialize in, or their mom, dad, grandma, grandpa are going to be going through what you specialize in. So by building a relationship and a partnership with 100 people in your phone, you've actually opened yourself up to 1,000 people. Because if each person has a mom and a dad, and if they're married, they got 2 moms and 2 dads, and if they're young enough, they got 4 grandmas and 4 grandpas, you're talking about each person knowing at least 10 people personally, outside of their aunts, uncles, great aunts, sisters, moms, like whatever, and their friends.
Mm-hmm.
So where to start? That's where I would start. And the best part with starting with those people is if you don't have the gift of gab, if you're not just well rehearsed and you haven't practiced your performance and you don't role play every single day like me and Paul suggest everybody do, those people won't care as much. If you stumble through things, they'll be like, oh no, it's okay. And you can laugh it off.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can learn how to talk to people as like a human being, because that's what we all want, is human connection. Even with AI coming in, we still want human connection. And if you learn to connect with the people that you already know, it is going to be 1,000 times easier connecting with people that you don't know. Because you can say, I was just talking to my aunt about this.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't want to move either. She wants to live in her home forever. So I totally get it. I mean, we had an hour and a half conversation, deep, heartfelt, that this is the house that her husband built. And this is the family, this is the room that her kids grew up in, and her kids got here. We talked about it all. So I get that part. But one thing that I really resonated, and we really kind of like helped be a little bit proactive in the planning part, is that God forbid a crisis was to happen. Where is it that she'd want to go? Because I want to be her advocate. She's my aunt.
Right.
And her kids kind of just want her home. And so she's like, I don't trust my kids as much as I do you, because you're not getting my home. But will you advocate for me? I can't advocate if I don't know where it is that you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to advocate for you is to have you put it in writing into your trust, into your estate plan, into your medical directive, your financial directive. You build out a care plan. And I can say, sorry, kids, it's in the trust. This is where your mom wants to go. This is how she's going to pay for it. And this is who she said is going to be empowered to do so.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would suggest. I think it's
And
the best place to start.
and
Um,
I like that because I've been through situations where, I'm doing a deal right now where there's 14 heirs and we are having, I don't know how many disinterested parties because people didn't have wills. And so I'm naturally a teacher. So I want to teach people the importance of the things they need to do so that when they do go to sell, I don't care how long I have to wait for them to sell. Um, I can be patient, but I want them to be ready when they go to sell.
and that story, what you're going through with your clients, not saying you have to share intimate details or names on socials
Mm-hmm.
or in a newsletter, but share that situation. I'm working with
Okay.
a client right now. There's about a dozen or so heirs. Unfortunately, there wasn't a trust that had a
Mm-hmm.
portable will. Now they're going to go through probate. Now they're going to deal with arguments. Family members are breaking up. There's all kinds of family disputes. No one is in control of it. And the more that they dispute, guess what? The more the state is going to come in and plan their plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if we want to do better, we as agents have to do better. And
Okay.
we have to stop being secret. We have to stop being afraid to be visible. I don't look good on camera. No one cares.
Right.
We're not trying to be movie stars. We're trying to be educators. We're trying to be advocates. And we're trying to be the one that stops someone from, or not stops, but prevents somebody from going through what your client's going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing is better than storytelling. It's easy
Okay.
for me to go up and I do, right now, for some reason, my Instagram's just, I call it hitting. I post something and it's hitting 20,000 views. I'm like, where were you a year ago when I've been posting? Uh, but it's different things. Like if you have an aging parent or grandparent, imagine selling your home you've owned for 20 years. Um, if you have an aging grandparent or parent, like that's the hooks. And then I'm just explaining, like, here's 5 different things that I'm dealing with my clients.
Okay.
That hooks people in, that gets you followers. And the ones that I'm actually talking head saying, hey, I'm going through this with my client right now, and I'm going to share some things with you so that hopefully it can prevent you and your family from going through this. And I just talk to them about the story.
Okay.
Those ones only get a couple hundred views, but those views, those interactions, those DMs lead to business.
Right.
Share it with an email. And I like videos because videos is more personal. Even if you send out an email and you type it all out, I attach a video to it
Mm-hmm.
because I want it to be personalized. And I'm just talking to people.
Right.
And we all have that video voice. And everyone gets on me. My wife gets on me, like my teammates get on me, like, hey, this is Cory Bulldrop, the real estate guy. We got to do better. We got to just
Mm-hmm.
talk like this. Hey, it's Cory. I'm here to
Right.
talk to you guys about something. And the best way I can do is just talk to your camera like you're talking to a client right then and there.
Okay.
So that would be my best advice. What's up, Mikey? The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Implementer.
How's it going, brother?
Good, good. How's it going?
I can't complain. I saw you guys were on, so I had a few minutes. I thought I'd hop in.
Well, that's awesome. Good to see you, Mikey. Mike came on one time and he was like, Mike Wazanowski. And I was like, dude, Mike, you got to be the monster of real estate. You got to be Mike Wazowski. You got to put it in there. And literally, I think before we even ended the conversation, he's like, look, here's my new brand. Here's my new logo. It works? People remember
Yeah,
you better, yeah?
no, nobody has turned me into Disney yet, but
Yeah, I just think I always say, because we were talking about is people, because we're ingrained as kids, people remember cartoons, people remember logos. I mean, think about it. Think about any cereal brand, and you could probably know what brand it is by just like if I put Toucan Sam up there, it's Fruit Loops. If I put the Honeybee up there, it's Honey Nut Cheerios. Like everybody, and you put Michael Jordan, people first think about Wheaties. Now I don't know who's on the box now, but that's who we think about because that's who we did. So I would suggest everyone, like, come up with a slogan, come up with a nickname, you know, the monster of real estate. It's doing good. Business going well, Mikey?
Yeah, I can't complain. I actually have two hoarder homes under repair right now. So one, I was originally I talked to you guys back in I think July or August, where I took 9 40-yard dumpsters out,
Wow.
and I actually did the trash out. I hired 3 local guys that I knew that have done work for me before, and I worked alongside them. I mean, the it was a class 5 hoarder, 5 sometimes 6 feet of
Wow.
everything you can imagine in the house. And I know you've been through those before, but this was actually a learning experience. Now, I mean, I was quoted $55,000, $50,000. I actually have background in property management, so I thought, well, I'm going to bring a dumpster in, bring in one every day. I told the guys, this is our job. We have to fill one dumpster a day. I'm paying you X number a day. If you show up every day, you finish a job, you're going to get X number of bonus at the end of it. And everybody showed up every day, and they were Hispanic. So they go to me at end of the first day. We worked from 7:30 to 3:30 with no breaks. So I brought Gatorade and water, so they didn't want breaks.
Yeah.
End of the first day, we're sitting there at 3:45 after taking it, and mind you, it's July in Florida with heat
Even.
index of 115, and cockroaches galore. I wore shorts, but hey, it was fun. And we had an unwritten rule that if there was a cockroach on your back, you had permission to slap it off and not ask that, and not say there's a cockroach there. But what it taught me is now I know how to price out doing a trash out.
Yeah.
And I charged the homeowner $55,000 because I had a proposal and showed it to him. I said, I'll match it. So I'm now an expert at trashing out homes.
The entrepreneur in you goes, hey, wait a second, there's a way to make some money in here. So good for you. If don't mind me asking, 350, 550 you paid your guys?
I paid my guys $250.
And then bonus them out?
$200, then bonus them out.
You're more cutthroat than I am. Let's say it that way. But good for you, Mike. I mean, there's no shame in. I mean, literally.
That's what I said. What do you guys need per day?
Yeah.
And I knew what I could pay up to, and I bonused them out. But
what were the if you don't mind me asking, the Benz 850?
No, actually, I got a deal. It was 700, just under 700.
Okay, so essentially you made probably more on your clean out than you did on your commission.
Hey, Cory.
Hey, I'm not hating, bro. I am congratulating. I am saying, like, there's an entrepreneur that gets it and says, you know what? If I just take the reins of this and I step out of my comfort zone and I say, you know what? Like, are you taking advantage of someone? Absolutely not, because you went and got a quote from another company and you said you'll meet it. And you did. And now you should have a junk removal company, stand alone by yourself to keep it separated. And I personally, I don't know if you did or not, but I would have had an addendum sign that said that you also own the clean out company. And then I also would say that I gave, 2 to 3 quotes and the owner chose this one. So that would be just ways to protect yourself. But no one can come back and say that you took advantage of someone. You went and got a quote. I mean, unless someone proved that that person, embellished thing. But that's why I started my junk removal company. It's exactly the same thing. They were charging $135 a day, or no, sorry, an hour for 3 guys. And then the lead was 175. And it was somewhere close to that. I mean, mine was a little bit smaller, apparently, because I don't think we filled up 9. I think we filled up 6. But it was like $36,000. And I was like, I can do it cheaper than that. I have guys in the film industry that will work 12 hours straight, and they work hard. So where the guy told us about the clean out was going to take 3 weeks, we did it in 3 days. And we literally had like two dumpsters side by side, fill them up. One that want to leave, another. We just had them coming. And to the point where Matt Paxton, he just told me for his TV show, he's going to hire us because he's like, dude, if you guys can have 6 crews running and clean out a house in 2 to 3 days when, usually takes us 3 weeks, let's do it. And so, yeah, so that's awesome, Mike.
I also learned, I did the smoke remediation and mold remediation in the complex. So I also got paid on that. That invoice was submitted was almost 40,000.
Good for you, Mike.
So now
You mean you didn't learn that in real estate school? Great job, Michael.
So what you're telling me, Mike, is that one job you probably made 150,000 off of? Even more. Good for you, man. So you don't need to do many real estate deals when you do it like that. And again, whether you're a woman or a man, everyone can do what Mike did.
YouTube University.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you call a dumpster, they will drop off 40 yarders. Out here, they're $850 to $1,000. So, apparently Florida's a little bit cheaper, shockingly. And then you can hire day workers for $250, $300. Like, as long as you're not decluttering and organizing and trying to save stuff, anybody can go in and shovel shit and trash into there. Give them the face mask, give them the eye goggles so no one gets elephantitis or whatever it is. And all it needs is just a pusher. You just I do junk removal because I like to physically destroy things and demo things and throw things away. I don't put things back together, so I don't do that well. But good for you. That's awesome.
It was very cathartic to work 9 days for 8 hours straight. I lost a little bit of weight those 9 days.
Yeah,
so.
I bet. No, I like it. I mean, I like putting 100 open house signs in there because it just gives me that physical activity in the morning. But I like junk removal days because it literally gets my blood flowing and some physical labor in there and a little bit of a workout and stuff. So awesome. Any thoughts, any questions? Anybody have anything to add? So again, I mean, I was going to talk about, now there's at least 3 of you here. I was going to talk about like conversations to have. And one of them we already have of like, we really need to start talking to everybody that we know because 7,000 people every single day are turning 65 years old. So we all need to be talking about, where is it that people would want to go, God forbid a crisis happens, and get people to be proactive because there's not enough beds for people in crisis mode. So we got to get them thinking about crisis mode before crisis mode happens. We also got to think that like only 33% of people have a trust. Everybody should have a trust. Even if you don't own a home, you should have an estate plan that consists of a medical directive, a financial directive, a HIPAA release, a power of attorney. I'm going through it with one of my clients right now where he actually owns 3 homes. He got dementia. His kids called me and said, hey, we want to be able to get a loan. We don't want to sell the homes. We want to get a loan so we can pay for dad's care. And I said, okay, great. Let's see the trust. Well, the trust didn't have the power, didn't give the power to the successor trustee to actually do a loan. So now they have to go to conservatorship. In California, that could take 6 months to go through and cost about $16,000 to $20,000. So it's not only about having an estate plan, but the conversation's got to go further and go, please look, if you have a trust, great. Please look in there. God forbid a crisis happens. You get hurt, you're young, you get in an accident, you become mentally incapacitated. Do your kids, does your wife have the power to sell your home, to get a loan in your home? Because if both of you are on title, you're both going to need both signatures. If you're physically incapacitated or mentally incapacitated, how is that going to happen? So your wife's going to lose the home while you're in the hospital? That ain't right. As we get older, dementia and Alzheimer's becomes something more realistic. So we got to talk about that. Put in your care plan. Where's it that you want to go? How are you going to pay for it? So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to advocate, and the kid's got to take it to court, and we're hoping to get conservatorship, like an emergency conservatorship, to go in. But we have to change this. The trust has to give the power to the successor trustee to allow them to go get a loan. And then we can take that documentation to the title company and the loan company and say, hey, we actually have the power, and within our trust, we're going to do this, and this is where the money's going. But it has to be, he has to start a trust account. The money has to go into the trust account, and then that way they can pay for the care without getting stolen. And that's what I also tell people is, like, don't just blindly give your power of attorney or successor trustee this power. You have to protect yourself also, because you might love your kids and you might think your kids love you, but money does something crazy to people. So if you allow them to get a loan, we've seen $400,000 stolen from kids and their mom not be able to eat for 3 days because of it. So we have to protect it. And by having it specific instructions in there, it allows people to have oversight. I always like a third-party administrator being part of it. Even if you pay them, it's still worth it, or a private fiduciary or a public fiduciary, third person overseeing what's going on. So that way, yes, it's in the rules and this is what has to happen. But if there's not an oversight committee, it's like California, or dare I say Minnesota, or dare I say probably all the states across the country, all the fraud that happens in our government, it's because there's no oversight, and there's no punishment for that oversight. So yeah, so those would be other conversations. The balance test, the refrigerator test, like, get nosy. I did one, and someone commented, if my kids ever got into my financial thing, I would tell them to go kick rocks and blah, blah. I'm like, that's funny, because actually I didn't say anything about getting your finances. I talked about having conversations so that they can advocate for you and to make sure that they understand what it is that you want, because you're in good mental capacity now, obviously, because you're witty enough to come up with that on Instagram. But what happens when you're not? And she, like, literally didn't. I was kind of offended because she didn't post it back in the comments, but then she instant messaged me and goes, hey, you know what? I was wrong for coming at you like that. And then she hit her comment. I was like, well, then delete your comment at least. Like, but that's where we need to have is these conversations. And again, I really believe we got to have it with the people on our phone. I just did a speaking event yesterday, and there's about 50 agents in there. And I said, everyone, I was like, who wants more leads? Who thinks we need more leads to do more business? And everybody raised their hand. I said, okay, so do we want FSBOs, expireds? And like, everyone's raising their hand. And I go, that's funny. All you guys are looking for all these leads that have so much rejection that's filled with them. I mean, like one lady says she gets 400 leads a month, and she closes on a 3 to 4% ratio. And I'm like, cool, you're doing 12 deals a month. That's awesome. But I couldn't imagine get rejected 386 times. Like, that would be a nightmare for me and my team. But all the leads we ever need are on our phone. Everybody, if you look at your phone right now, I don't care who you are, you at least got 300 people in your phone. Why not call all those people? Because those people know 4 to 7 people every single year that are going to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So if you got 300 people, you got 1,200 leads to 2,100 leads in your phone sitting in there right now. Divide that by 12, you got a couple hundred leads every single month sitting in your phone. But you don't want to call them. You want to call all the strangers that you don't know and try to be a Wolf at Wall Street kind of closer and get them to close. So you want to get more personal, Debbie, get more personal. You want to build more relationships. And the thing is those people can also lead to your partnerships. Paul's a pretty good teacher on it. It was like, hey, I'm just calling our PSAs. Do you have a trust? Oh, you do? Do you love your trust attorney? Oh, yeah, he's great. Could you put us in touch? I'm always looking for great trust attorneys, because some of my clients, they're looking for some, and it might be out of the area that my trust attorney covers, or my trust attorney might be busy, or they just might not jive. One of my trusted attorneys, he's very, very vocal about being anti-vaccine, and he's very pro-Trump. Some of my clients don't want to deal with that. And so it's like, I can't just introduce that person to some people. Some people are anti-vaccine and love Trump. They love him, because our job is not to decide who's right and wrong. Our job is to connect people. We're connectors. We got to connect ourselves, and we got to connect them to other people. So that would be, kind of what I would leave with is those things of, we have to prospect 2 to 4 hours a day to be successful. If you want to do, 20 to 30 transactions a year, or maybe if you just want to do 7 of Mike's deals a year, you might need less connections. But if we just connect with people and we prospect 2 to 4 hours a day, doing it what we love to do, doing it what we like to do, doing what we're good at, I bet Mike has found a niche inside what he's doing now, to the point where now Mike might be able to say, you know what, this is my avatar. Now I'm going to speak to this avatar every single day on social media. I'm going to go and look for this data on this avatar. Mike, were they over 72 years old?
Yes.
Did they have at least an 1,800 square foot home?
Yes. 2-story.
2-story. Were they behind on their mortgage, or was there another criteria that was like they're in distress because of, or were they just now their health had declined because they're living in a hoarder home and they needed care?
One was the house fire.
Okay.
Which turned into a cockroach fest, which turned into, that's the big one.
And how'd you find that person?
Through a friend in my phone.
Shocking. And did you just tell that person that's what you specialize in?
Actually, I've known him. He was the first guy I met when I moved to Florida, and
Okay.
I've stayed in contact with him. He does a lot of community. He's retired now, but long story is, he connected me with the guy, and actually, I was going to buy the house for cash, and I would have made more money. The first 6 days after the fire, I was inside there for probably 4 hours a day in 115 plus heat index, going through. The guy was amazing, early onset dementia, but he still knew where stuff was in his house. I said, okay, I need to know where your DD 214 is. At military, he's a veteran. So he kind of gave me an idea. So I found that one day. I was bringing out boxes, cartons of mail that was stacked up from 1988. I mean, it was, but the newer stuff was on top. So I was able to go in and find the documents I needed. I found out that he got forced place insurance because he was behind on his mortgage. So he canceled his insurance. So that allowed me to, instead of buying it for cash, I actually backed out of the deal to do the right thing, because I would have stole the house from him. Now with the insurance money, he's going to actually make a ton of money. When I met him, he had negative $32 in his account. He was in his HOA, living in his car in 115-degree heat, and using the bathroom at the pool house. So this is when I advanced the money to move into a community till his house sells.
Mike, how come I don't see anything about this on your social media?
Oh, geez, my social media is horrible. I'm supposed to be on some class that's being held by some guru on the 12th to the 14th, but I missed it. So, yeah.
I mean, that is like that story. I mean, again, you don't have to tell the personal story. You don't have to tell the names, but that story is so heartfelt. And I bet you if you asked him, he would actually allow you to share that story, because you saved this man's life and you changed his life. And usually those people like having that and saying, hey, can I do a live testimonial with you? And we just kind of talk about the process. We kind of talk about where things were, because I believe your story is going to resonate and hopefully help someone. Can we share your story? I think they would be able to. And then if you go take that story to communities.
Actually doing one better. I'm writing a book. I told you about it.
Awesome.
How to pay for long-term care. It's about 200 pages. I'm just wrapping that up. and I'm asking him permission to put him on the cover.
Awesome.
So
And I would have him give the foreword.
Yeah, and then, well, he's in IL right now, needs to be in AL, and we're doing a BIMS test right now, and he may have to go into MC. He's pretty far along.
Yeah.
So we're still working with him. He has no family, no kids, no nothing.
Wow.
So if it wasn't for my friend and myself stepping in, he would have lost his house because the city had condemned it. The city loves me now because I cleaned it out and I'm putting it back on the real estate market to be a producing property for, instead of they knew he was a hoarder. They just could never get in his house. He had taped everything in his windows so they couldn't look in. Would never let anybody in the house, was very careful. But the moment the fire department stepped in,
yeah, very loud. So that's another person now that you have a good contact with. Go to the city and just say, hey, if you guys ever come across these situations, I know you can't tell them to use me, but if you let me know that I can help them, and I have a nonprofit that inside of it that can do it, because cities can refer nonprofits, they just can't refer profits.
Yeah.
But that might be a thing that you can say, hey, I can work with the city, and we can do this.
Sorry about that. I just had an inspection, and I told the guy a little bit of the story because he didn't know about it, and he goes, "Yeah, we just had a house fire," and I said, I'm an expert now.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty funny.
Awesome. And the guy originally that you stayed in contact with, your friend, obviously you've branded yourself and you made him aware of, this is what I specialize in and this is what I can do. And that's, again, going back to what we very first started today with, is your friends, family, the people that you know, they will refer you and introduce you to situations. You just aren't branding yourself. You're not making yourself aware. I never call someone and go, oh my God, the market this is the best time to buy. There's no buyers in the market. The rates are dropping. Inventory is sitting. You can get a steal. I don't do that. I will say, hey, I specialize in off-market properties. So if you ever know someone that wants to get a good deal, please introduce them to me. Hey, I specialize helping seniors and the families plan for the future and beyond. I help them do X, Y, and Z. So if you ever know someone, please introduce me. I always give a subtle reminder when I'm talking to people what it is that I specialize in. And every month I just kind of change it up a little bit, and then I'll recycle back, and then I'll change it up a little bit. Or I'll tell them, hey, like, my PSA this month is all about that client that I told you about. Like, they thought they did everything right. He's got 3 properties. He owns them outright. He's got millions of dollars sitting in equity in his home. And the guy cannot afford to go into memory care because he's a broke millionaire, and his trust attorney didn't make sure that it was written correctly. So that's what I would leave with, guys. Yeah, that's what I'd leave you with. Anyone got anything else?
Do you know if that guru recorded his training?
Yeah. So what's going to happen is that 3-day workshop will be a forever green course, and within the next week or two, it'll be launched out. So, yeah.
Good for you. That's what direction I knew from a year ago you needed to go.
Yeah. That's where it's basically what I'm doing. I got connected. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but I got connected with Brad Lee from the Dropping Bombs podcast. It's got like 2 million subscribers. He trains big corporations on their training, their education. So he's actually, for some reason, took a liking to me after our episode. So he's going to help me build out a full education system for senior division, for social media, for my core boot camp, and make them forever green courses. And then I'll do live events, but those will be like people that actually want to like pay for live events, and the rest of them will be affordable for anybody and everybody to take. So that's what we got going on. Tomorrow, it should be, I think I'm going to make it a little bit later because I think I have to do an open house, but I think at 4 p.m. I'm going to do a social media ads class on how to use social media ads to make sure that the people in your phone, your friends, your followers, any database you have, any CRM you have, any farm list you have, they will never forget about you. So I can't get them to use you if they don't like you, know you, and trust you, but they will never not use you because they forgot about you. And that's what the power of social media ads are. So,
Is
all
that a
righty.
separate class from the one you just did?
So the 3-day workshop, it's like the first day was all about how to systematically engage with your friends and followers.
Right.
Today is about like what content do you push out? How do you have them be confident in your competence? Use social media to know, like, and trust you, to brand yourself aware, to make people aware of what you do. And then tomorrow is all about like how to use ads. So people can buy the 3-day workshop for $197, or each day is $97. So
Oh,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
Good seeing you.
Good to see you as well, man. Thank you. Thank you, guys.